Hello, welcome back to my channel. Just want to say a big thank you to everyone who's been supporting me, following, liking, sharing and subscribing to my channel. I'm feeling the love there, so I want to say a big thank you to all of you for doing that. Today's video may be a shorter video. I'm kind of struggling to connect, I guess, with this one and what I'm going to say and the message I'm trying to bring across. Also, just a reminder that a lot of things that I speak about may not be factual. And if there is anything that I'm questioning, I might just say, fact check me, or, do your own research kind of thing. So what I'm going to be speaking about today, I'm not trained in, it's just sharing this with you in a different way of thinking about things, in what I've noticed and what I've observed, and just kind of a place of where I've come to with this. So without further ado, let's do it. So today's video, I'm going to be talking about the wonderful, amazing world of parasites. So there's a lot out there at the moment with regards to the health and well-being industry. Everyone's online. Well, I say everyone, there's a lot of people online talking about parasites and worms and bacterias and this cleanse and that cleanse and this detox and that detox, and everyone's got the best product to buy. All these ads, reels, what to use, what to take, how to take it. So I just want to share a different perspective, I guess, on the world of parasites, and maybe if we think about it differently, could there be a different approach to working with parasites and essentially even maybe using them to help us heal? Now, that's not quite what's the word I'm looking for? A new concept, because there are places out there where, if I'm correct, places, I think Zoe and Viome, and there's probably a host of a load more, but they're the only two that I'm going to reference, that, if I'm correct, they will do a stool sample. So they'll be checking the gut microbiome, and from that they can help give you a nutritional diet plan, which is great. But also, if I'm correct, they will create I think supplement and bacteria. So they'll create supplements, tablets with everything you need in terms of minerals, vitamins, and if I'm correct, they will give you can give you a personalized, what am I trying to say? Personalized plan with bacteria for gut microbiome and supplementation for mineral and vitamin deficiency. So that is something that is happening and going on. So that's great. Is that the future? Should we be using bacteria and parasites, or can we use bacteria and parasites? Could we prescribe them instead of medication? Could it be a way forward? So yeah, parasites. So yeah, we all have parasites. We need them. We wouldn't be alive without them. They serve a role and a purpose. We know that they come in and they help us. Well, they essentially help keep us alive. So maybe fact check me on this, but in the event of stress and or trauma, our digestive system or our gut can slow down or shut down. Now, when that happens, anything that's inside of our gut isn't going to be getting digested, or is not going to be moving through us. So that in turn sits in the gut, and that can cause a host of problems in our GI tract and gut dysbiosis. We don't really want old food essentially in our gut for longer than it needs to be, because then that just comes to putrefaction or rotting, and anything rotten in your gut is going to give off its own bacteria and parasites, and yeah, now we just got a big parasitic and bacterial mess. But in our bodies are alkaline, and when we are stressed or have illness, ailment, or disease, we move into an acidic state. Now, acid destroys, so this is where we're going to essentially see more bacteria's unhealthy, let's call them unhealthy for the purpose of that, and parasites. Dr. Yakai speaks about parasites a lot. This is where I got a lot of my information from in my early days, not going to lie. He's also speaking actually that parasite nests could be being misdiagnosed as cancer. Now that's quite scary, at the fact that misdiagnoses are happening around cancer, and if that is happening, then you've got to think about the treatments that are happening and how they can affect your health in terms of the effects they'll have on your body, and if it is a misdiagnosis. So I have just, on my journey, I've tried the detoxes and things like that, and yeah, they've helped me, I'm not gonna lie. But there was this, for ages, I guess, this big hype, parasites, they're going to causing you this, they're causing you that, and no, and take this supplement with this, and yeah, okay, all right, I get it, all right, we've got parasites, we all have parasites, yes, they can contribute. This is me sharing my perspective and what I believe. Yes, they do and can contribute to health issues, problems. That's everything. Anything you got going on could potentially be linked to parasites, but can also be linked to environment, water, food, stress. So it's not just one thing. If we go after one thing, we're going to get some change or benefit there, but what about everything else, if that makes sense? If we're only addressing the parasites, but we're not working on our mental health or stress, or reducing stress or releasing it from the body, or we're not changing our environment, the foods we're eating, or our thoughts, we're not managing or better managing our emotions, all these things are still going to be going on. So in German New Medicine, they also speak of that things like parasites and food and everything else is not necessarily the root cause. And I feel like that's been pushed a lot on the internet, that this is the root cause for your mental health, or for your eyes, or your fatigue, your anxiety. It's so much more than that. It plays a role, and we know that parasites will come in if we're in any of these states, and if we're in an acidic state, but they're coming in to help you stay alive, essentially. Without them, we wouldn't be alive as human beings, as mammals. We do need them, just in a more manageable way. We can become overgrown with bacteria, fungi, parasites, and that can cause a lot of problems, as we know. But in the right balance, and with everything working the way it should, then everything's working together in partnership or coherence, let's say. So everything's working the way it should, and it's fine. So I just got to thinking, well, what if we could use parasites to help us heal, actually get a bit more aware and conscious, and maybe even study them a bit more to see, what parasite, or say parasite in bacteria, what is it, what's its role, what's it doing, and what can it do, what can its potential be. And I just got to think, well, what if we could do that? And what if we could become more consciously aware, but organically in tune with our bodies, to the point where we can control that, and we can say, okay, well, we need the body's out of balance, let's call in this bacteria or this parasite to help balance this. or help do that. So I'm talking in terms of maybe using bacteria and parasites as a form of healing to help bring balance. What can it do? What's its full potential? And if we introduce it at this stage, what can it do? Well, if we're trying to heal this, what can it do? Now, Dr. Yaki also, he mentions a lot about parasites being in the body, in tissues, in our cells, and that they starve us of our nutrients and minerals, which we'll find in the gut, but also in every cell, because every cell needs minerals, they need feeding. And this is where he says a lot of our deficiencies come from. And I was like, okay, yeah, cool, that makes sense. So let's detox, let's get everything out of the cells that we don't need. But in hindsight, thinking about it, what if it is still causing deficiencies, but what if it is to protect the cell? Now, again, I'm no expert in this, so I'm going to say something and try and explain it the best way I can. Hopefully you follow along and kind of get it to the point of what I'm saying. I'm not saying it's truth, just saying, what if there could be more to this, and what if more research was done, what could we be doing differently in terms of using parasites and bacteria as a replacement to medicine, and much more natural, I guess, an organic way of looking at healing. So yeah, what if they actually are protecting your cells rather than just robbing you of your minerals minerals essentially. So if, for instance, let's look at this. So if we are in an acidic state, we've got a lot of toxins in our body, our cells still need to be able to absorb nutrients, minerals from the blood. If there's toxins present, when the parasites are, say, eating or taking the mineral, are they taking on that toxin for us so it doesn't overload our cells, if that makes sense? Like I said, I'm no expert, but if that is the case, then could that be then protecting our cells for further toxicity or that, what's the word I'm looking for? Let's go with damage. What's the correct scientific word? Oxygenate, no. Okay, let's let go of the word. But yeah, that's just the way I'm thinking. And if they're coming in, and what more, if that is the case, and they are protecting us from potentially, say, overloading ourselves with toxins by slowing down or reducing the amount that's being absorbed, then that's potentially a good thing. Yes, all right, if we are sick and we got symptoms and it can be uncomfortable and annoying and be painful if we're in a so-called diseased state. But if we think about it differently, what can that really do in terms of moving us forward in a different direction? What can that mean, and what can that do for humanity if we start looking at things like this differently? How could we take everything and figure out a way to use it for our benefit, if that makes sense, if you follow me with that? So how can we take parasites and take what we know about them, but learn about them a bit differently and use them to actually help us, move us forward, heal us? What could they do in the gut? If we introduce this strain or this species, can it help reduce numbers of this species that is actually really contributing to causing this dysbiosis or this disease? But equally, at the same time, we don't want to just jump straight in and just be like, okay, yeah, let's just chuck all these bacteria and parasites. That's not the issue. The issue is the conflict, the original conflict, the root cause, which is the emotional, emotions, energy in motion. Energy is supposed to move through us, and we're supposed to feel it and be able to express it and also take action in our daily lives. Now, when we're not doing that, it becomes stuck and stagnant. And you can feel that if you feel into your body, you can feel anywhere where you feel discomfort or a pain or ache, or when you feel an emotion, if someone makes you feel annoyed or angry or whatever it is, feel into the body and you feel where that is, that's the stagnancy right there. That's where that emotion, that energy emotion has become stuck or stagnant. So it's working holistically, but if we're tackling everything holistically or working with everything, I'm not saying spend loads of time here, there and everywhere, just do a little bit of each one. How could we integrate and learn more about parasites and bacteria and actually helping us, and then actually using it as a preventative measure? So Dr. Yaki also speaks of the body producing bacteria. Did he say parasites as well? I'm not too sure about that, but he says the appendix is what we have and is what is producing what the body needs. And so if I'm correct, if we have the overgrowth of the yeast, the Candida albicans in our gut, if we are very acidic, then it's common, if I'm correct, to have the overgrowth of the yeast or Candida bacteria that comes in to help eat up the acidity, to help balance the body, keep the body balanced. But then the overgrowth of the yeast can cause a host of problems, as we know, and the cravings for sweet and sugary things can go through the roof, and you just keep feeding into it. So yeah, it's not an easy one to treat, if I'm honest with you, because everything contains sugar, natural and processed. So that's a trickier one. Can be done, but it's strict. I say strict, it depends on where you are and what you want to do, what you want to achieve. If you want to do it, do it. But yeah, parasites, yes, they can contribute to any health condition, and as long as we're viewing them as being negative and causing all these issues, then I guess we're going to stay stuck with where we are in terms of healing and what the full potential of what they could be and do and be used for, to help us. If we was to look at it differently, how can we get there, what can we do, and how can we integrate that into our lives to help move us forward, and what could that look like for us as a step forward in humanity, I guess, is the message I'm sharing. Not quite the one I intended to, everything I want to say, but it's what it is. I'm having to move past having the perfect video. Let's just do the video. Whatever comes out, and just got to be okay with that, right? So yes, that's what I have for you today. Thank you very much for tuning in and listening. I hope you followed along with what I was trying to say. I'll just do a quick recap. Maybe let's not look at everything as negatives and, oh my God, this is the reason it's doing this and that. It's not like, there's a lot more going on than what we realize, what we're able to perceive, and what we're able to willing to accept in terms of everything that's affecting your health. It's not one thing, it's a mixture of things. So it's going to be beneficial, I would personally say, from my own experience, to work holistically, tackle a bit of everything. There's a lot out there, there's a lot you can do. You just got to start somewhere. But let's maybe move the stigma from parasites being negative to understand, to fully and truly understanding the roles that they play. And I feel like we're still collectively only in early days of understanding that, and I do feel like in time to come, the research that's going to be done, that will shift dramatically, and we'll see a completely different perspective on the matter, and we'll be I personally feel we will be in a place where we are using parasites and bacteria to cure, to heal, and even maybe more. Personally, is what I feel on that matter. So yes, thank you very much for staying with me. I appreciate it. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. I will be trying to do more videos. It's a bit ad hoc at the minute, as and when I can. I might have to change the location of where I'm doing my videos. Don't really want to, but you know, let's get the message out there. Let's keep going. So yeah, thank you very much and enjoy the rest of your day. Blessings.